Welcome to the Arsenal Show. We are live. And we're also Community Shield champions. The first major trophy of the season, people. And Arsenal have picked it up. We're one step away from the Premier League now. Just remember that. Forget about all these records where the person who wins the Community Shield doesn't usually go on to win the Premier League. Forget about them records. We're here to obliterate that. We're here to change the record books because Arsenal will win the league this season. I'm joined by Steve, Kay, Jerome Marks, and Melvin Marks. How's everyone doing?
Fine, thanks.
Good. Good evening, everybody.
Good. So we've got plenty to talk about. Obviously, Arsenal's victorious win against the giant, the juggernauts themselves, Manchester City. We're going to break apart a few of the things that I noticed in the game, and obviously want to ask the boys what their thoughts on the game was as well. We're going to go over the first 5 fixtures of Arsenal's season because it starts this weekend. And obviously, we're going to be going over any sort of transfer news that is popped up. Oh, all right. Let's start with my one. So, watching the game, watched it a couple of times now. Just them victories you just got to enjoy. And there's 5 things I noticed about the 5 key points I noticed from the Community Shield. First and foremost, Jurriën Timber. You couldn't have watched that game without noticing how smooth a transition Jurriën Timber's transfer has been from Ajax. He's slotted in at right back. He's played in at centre back, left back, midfield. He has been absolutely brilliant since he's been here, and no more than what we saw on Sunday. He's defensively, he was excellent. Interceptions, blocks, like winning the ball and starting off attacks. He was absolutely outstanding, I thought. I was very impressed with his play, and I hope that can continue into the Premier League. Steve, what were your thoughts on Jurriën Timber on the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely outstanding, wasn't he? I mean, if you had to, there was a lot of good performances, but, I think if you had to pick out a standout, then I think Jurriën Timber would be it. Very, very excited. We knew he was versatile. I thought he would be like either a right back or maybe cover for William Saliba. So something on those lines, possibly Gabriel as well. But never really envisaged him playing as a left back. So it was really interesting to see how he would do, like in a full 90 minutes. I've seen clippets of him playing in other friendlies, but not in a full game. And he was everything you said. Just so assured on the ball. He looks like he's someone that's played up the Arsenal for the last 10 years. He's just slitted him right in. And should we be surprised? A lot of people seem that didn't know what they was going to get from Jurriën Timber, but he's a Dutch international. So he plays for Ajax. He's got a lot of experience, and he sees someone who's going to be, play a massive part. And it's interesting now to see where he's going to play, what he's going to do, when it comes up to the Forest, because there's no way this guy he's going to be sitting on the bench. For me, he's a starter somewhere in the team. He's got to be a starter. But yeah, Timber was absolutely outstanding. It probably wasn't as outstanding as Kevin De Bruyne's Timber. As when he come on the pitch, he could look like he could lose a few pounds if he looked like he's been enjoying his holiday, and I suppose why not? They've won the treble. But look, he was fantastic, mate. Fantastic.
Jerome, Jurriën Timber looking like a seamless transition from Ajax to Arsenal so far.
Yeah, amazing. And talk about being thrown in the deep end, like playing against City, you couldn't have had like a harder game. And honestly, I know he can play in a few positions, but I reckon he's hardly ever played at left back for Ajax. All his games seem to be on the right or centre back. So I think it's a position that he's hardly played in. And he didn't put a foot wrong, apart from, I think, just before he came off, he gave the ball away. But apart from that, his sort of superpower is his drop of the shoulder to get like an extra couple of yards, and then he just moves away from like the attacker. Amazing. This is the exact example of what I was talking about. When we sign a player, we have to look at it as, would you be happy if this player was to be in our starting 11 every week? And with Timber, you got to say yes. Whether he starts every week or not, I don't know. But ultimately, you'd be happy if he plays. And so, for me, that's like a big tick. But yeah, amazing, really, how he settled in.
Yeah, 100%. You're gonna have to help me out here. What's this? Tepso. Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to Google that one. It says sign of the season. You also said I'm a big fan of the show. Happy to catch it live from South Africa. Well, please don't make this the last show you watch after my butchering of your name. I sincerely apologise. Johnny, I'm not even going over that one. I will put it up for everyone to see. I'm not reading that one out, you absolute savage. Timber has to start in front of Zinchenko for me. Russ, good to see you. Agreed. Johnny says Johnny and Zinchenko are my favourite players. Melvin, good start from you in Timber. Hopefully he takes to the Premier League as well.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I mean, he's got everything. He's two-footed. He's strong. He's fast. He seems to read. Being a centre half, the way he played there, you can tell he can read a game very well. He intercepts passes. He's one step ahead of everybody else. He's got it all. And when they're talking about who's going to be the left back, that's going to be our season now. No one's going to be certain. It's a shame that Zinchenko won't play every week, but it's going to be horses for courses. We play away to Liverpool like we did last season. Zinchenko actually got shown up a little bit, and it was a bit unlucky with their equaliser. They let the ball go through his legs. We have a player like him, Timber or Tierney there. I don't think that they score Liverpool. I think we win the game. But when we play at the Emirates, Zinchenko holding the ball, moving around, and also against the lesser teams away from home. He's a fabulous footballer. So perhaps you've got to find another position for him, because you can't leave both of them out, or one of them out even. They're both fantastic footballers. And this guy gives us so much more. We're not worried about... I mean, last season, we had both Saliba and Tommy injured in the same game. We were one right back away from not having a defence. Now, that ain't going to happen. We've got so many options now that it's really good. It's good for a player like that to be versatile. I don't like versatile players myself. I prefer players to be fantastic in one position and very good in all. But this good guy could be fantastic in all positions. So I might be wrong with him. I think this guy's got it all, and so exciting. He's hit the ground running, as they say. I look forward to watching him play a lot more.
I know what you're saying with regards to versatility, but I think that's probably more of an old school fault. I get it. It definitely used to be the case back in the day. If you had multiple positions, it was like an easy option to drop because everyone else only has one position. But when you slot into a position as seamlessly as Timber has, and in a Mikel Arteta team where it's very much of the case of kind of you keep your shirt if you play well. I understand that Zinchenko has been fantastic, is fantastic for us, but he has to understand that Jurriën Timber so far has played in his position twice, and he's had a very good run in that position. So I hope, in my eyes, that Timber does start. Zinchenko's missed, 3 games in pre-season, so I don't think he's going to be up to match fitness. And for me, you start who's fittest and who's been playing the best, and so far I can see that Timber's done that. Plus, you look at the fact, is Timber going to take Ben White's spot? I can't say that's the case based off of how I've seen Ben White in pre-season. I don't think that would be fair to drop him for that. and he adds balance. What's your thought on that one, Steve? How would you play it out? Would you be looking to replace Timber on that left or start him on the right? How would you play it?
No, I mean at the moment, I think he starts on the left from what I'm seeing him. Obviously, Arteta he's been trying things in this pre-season, trying players in different positions. You know, he's been playing players all over the place. Nothing's been set, and I don't know if you've noticed as well. You know, what players do, they sort of changed they change their positions around, don't they? You know, they may start out as a left back, but halfway through the game, that left back will be playing in midfield. I mean, we see Declan Rice at some points playing as a right back, you know, in the Community Shield, which is something that we see, you know, Arteta tried last year when we see Thomas Partey playing in the last few games at right back. Sorry, not left back. Did I say left back? Maybe say right back. So this versatility thing is a good thing now, I feel, because the game changes while you're in play. You know, that they move into different positions. So to do that, you have to have players of versatility in your side who can move around and slot in, whether they slot into a centre back, slot into a midfield position, and you know, and that goes for all the other players all around the pitch. But for me, as you said, I think you're spot on when you said about Zinchenko. I can't see how he can start the first game. I just can't. You know, we're talking like a few days away, and he hasn't had any game time at all. And looking at Timber, the way he's been playing, and especially like the weekend, I think you slot him in as left back all day, and I think that will happen against Forest. I agree with you with what Ben White's come in. I think before this, with the last few pre-seasons, you know, we wasn't sure. We thought maybe Timber would come in and slot into Ben White's position because he would offer that little bit more. But just like what, you know, Arteta wants, you know, what he's asked Ben White a question, and he said to Ben White, you know, if you want to keep your space, like he has everybody else, you need to do other things. And now in the pre-season, I'm seeing things from Ben White that I wanted to see a little bit more of last season. So it works when you do this. So, but for me, Ben White keeps his spot, and for me, Timber starts as left back. You can't play Zinchenko. He's just not had enough game time. So yes, it's a bit of a no-brainer for me, that one.
That's my fault. Cheapo. Just clarify. Cheapo. Yeah, I feel like I've got it. I feel like we've got a new subscriber as well. All right. Next thing I noticed, Declan Rice. Declan Rice. This guy marshaled the midfield. His partnership sparks up a partnership with Thomas Partey, which is already flourishing. And in my eyes, he's only in second gear. We saw him. It was kind of unspectacularly spectacular in my eyes from Declan Rice. I saw him up and down the pitch. He was doing what Xhaka did last season, where he was defending from the front. He was also dropping him back. We saw that recovery run where he wasn't even on the screen at one point, and then out of nowhere, he's nipped the ball off of, I can't remember his foot, it was, I think it was Rodri's, and then continued to play out, and then carried on, look for the 1-2 there. I thought he's showing leadership skills on the pitch. His passing was very good. All together, I thought Declan Rice had a really good game. And like I said, he's only been here for 3 weeks, so it's very, very impressive. Steve, what were your thoughts on Declan Rice's game?
Yeah, exactly what you said. It was spectacular without being, you know, absolutely amazing, if you like. But, you know, I think you can see what we're going to get from him. Some of the I mean, we obviously, you know, you've come to me first, so I'm obviously going to bring out that bit where he just put on the burners and took the ball off Silva as if he wasn't there. You know, I've heard a few people say, you know, first thing they said was, "Oh, Bernardo Silva's not fit," this is what they come up with. That was absolute nonsense. Yeah. And another thing that I'm hearing from, I seriously wonder about pundits, and it's not the first time I've heard this over the last few days regarding Declan Rice. They said he was caught out of position a few times, and he had to run back when Man City was on the attack. Well, he's a number 8, for God's sake. He was playing in a number 8 position, so he's obviously going to be up the field and having to run back. So again, absolute nonsense from what people come out with. Anyway, that's just. I think that's just a thing where our fans, a lot of rival fans, a lot of pundits seem to be trying to really nitpick at Arsenal at the moment. But Declan Rice, I mean, it's just so exciting, isn't it? Great partnership with Partey. Again, he just looks. I mean, I'm a big fan of Xhaka, but he's just levels above what Granit Xhaka can do. And yeah, I mean, I can just imagine going forward. I think he's going to give us more goals. The legs. We need someone with legs next to Thomas Partey, because I still feel that that's probably one of his main weaknesses. And we've got Partey, and then Partey can do his other stuff. But yeah, really, really good performance. Very, excellent. Again, the way he's fitted into the side, a bit similar to Timber. He's not going to probably get as noticed as much as what Timber has, because of the positions they play. But I'm sure as the season goes on, he will.
Jerome, Declan Rice looked like he's sparking up a nice little partnership with Thomas Partey in the middle there on the weekend. And as Stephen, wow, as Steve said, getting in trouble, isn't you?
Yeah, that's it.
Steve said there's a lot more to come from him as well.
Yeah. Firstly, he's not fit, is he? He's not match fit. He hasn't had a proper pre-season for starts, because he came back late because of the Conference League. I think in this game, what I noticed is that unlike the previous games he's played for us, he was moving about the pitch a bit more. In the other games, he seemed to really stick to that sort of left 8 position and sort of stay there. Whereas in this game, he was going back to collect the ball from the defence. He was just moving about the pitch a bit more. I think he was probably feeling a bit more confident, feeling a bit more comfortable.
Understanding what Mikel Arteta wants more as well, though.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's going to take time. Everyone that's joined Arsenal has said like, obviously they need to like come in and learn. Like, you don't really hear that from other clubs. Like, players just go in and they play. This is like, obviously there's a very specific system. It's not maybe straightforward. So I think he's just picking it up very, very quickly. So, and again, playing against such a good team like City, you saw little glimpses with Rice, like that recovery challenge that you mentioned earlier. But really encouraging performance. And I know there's been like some sort of question marks, like where's he going to play? Where we start the season, but I can't see him changing that Rice and Partey midfield.
I don't think it really matters once he gets into the swing of things, especially whether Partey plays or not, whether Havertz plays in that middle, whether it's Vieira, Smith Rowe, any of them. It just feels like after a while he's just going to get it. He just knows. Melvin, it's good to see Rice is getting better game by game.
Yeah, he's like a luxury ocean liner, isn't he? He gets when it comes out of port, it's very slow. You're not worried because at some stage it's going to get up to knots and you'll be on your way. And this is exactly what he's like. He's absolute quality. He makes the difficult things look easy. His reading of the game is very good. He's strong. He's got a presence, which we haven't had in midfield for a long, long time. And as you say, whoever he plays next to, he's going to make that player better as well. No, I mean, I don't care where he plays. I don't care what number he's got on his back. Having me on that field wearing an Arsenal shirt is such a boost for us. It's fantastic. And in a couple of months' time, you'll even forget that he's just joined us. It'll be like part of the furniture. Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, you can tell that he's fitting in with the rest of the players very, very quickly. I know he already had friends from the England team, but even just by if you hear some of the stuff that he said after the game, there's a lot of West Ham fans that are sort of surprised how quickly he seems to have changed. Like he doesn't seem like our player. Like he's fully Arsenal now, which shows where Arsenal are at. Ironic says I have a concern with Rice that he plays a little sideways and backwards and can struggle to play 1 and 2 touch. I know you want to keep the ball, but also have to progress it. I saw some of that on Sunday, but I don't agree. If I'm honest, I think the part of it was Declan Rice is trying to find his feet, getting to know where other players are. I think eventually, as he plays more with his teammates, he build up a rapport with the likes of Odegaard, Partey, Havertz, especially in the short term, as they're probably going to be his most likely midfield partners. But I don't agree with that, because I see some of the passes that Declan Rice makes are quite cutting, very similar to what you see with Thomas Partey, where he tries to fizz the ball past 2 players instead of looking for the 1 and 2 pass. I think over time you'll see more progressive play from Rice, but yeah, I don't 100% agree with that. Steve, what's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, it's like we had the same thing with Granit Xhaka, didn't we? He passes it sideways, he passes it back. People will always try and find something, and the guy who put the question to us. I mean, he's right. There is right, but you do have to do that. Sometimes you do have to win the ball, nick the ball, pass it off, move it off to Odegaard, pay it back to Partey, let the play start up again. You need someone to do that. One of the best players of winning the ball and nipping it off and then playing it off in Europe is Declan Rice. It's what he's good for. It's one of the reasons why Arteta's bought him. It's one of the reasons, or it's one of the weapons you need when you're playing in the number 8 position. You need to do everything. And yes, he did that, but I was pleased to see him do that. But we also see him defend. We also see him get forward. We also see him get in the box, which is exactly what a number 8 should be doing, giving him license to do everything. So I wouldn't worry about that. I don't think there's a problem in passing it off, pinging it off. It's part of the game. You need people to do it. I may be showing my age a little bit, or maybe not so. Gilberto Silva and Makelele, that's all they ever did was pass it, ping it off, and they got called one of the world-class footballers. So I think as it goes on, people seem to sort of jump on the bandwagon a little bit. It's what you do, and he does it well, and you need people to do that well.
Jerome, do you have any concerns that Declan Rice isn't progressive enough as a player?
No, I don't think so. I understand what Ronok was saying. I think central midfielders by nature, like, they're told to keep the ball, aren't they? Like, don't lose the ball. And sometimes you're going to have to play, backwards or sideways if it's on. But say that 70% of what he does, the extra 30% of what he does will be something special, whereby it will be breaking up the play, tracking back, not getting beaten for pace, marauding runs forward into the box. So I think, like Steve said, it's just part of the game. And because he's cost so much money, maybe we'll expect him to not make those passes, but everyone does it. I'm sure Rodri makes plenty of backwards and sideways passes because they keep the ball.
That's his game. Yeah.
So yeah,
that's what he does.
Melvin, any worries about Declan Rice's progressive play? Did you see any concerns from what you've seen so far?
No concerns. He's a new club, new strategy, new playing style. So I'd rather him do that than run up and down, kicking the ball everywhere and trying things slowly. It wasn't a Premier game. It was a Charity Shield, finding his feet again. Forest, you'll see a little bit more forward play perhaps from him. and all of a sudden, it get it all together, and we will be forgetting we've had this conversation. No problems at all.
Yeah, I think exactly what everyone said there. It's about finding his feet and just getting comfortable within his surroundings. I think one player that you can, who was accused of being a bit trying too hard or trying too much, was Kai Havertz when he first joined Chelsea. I mean, the amount of montages that I saw and compilations that I saw of Chelsea fans showing him spraying balls wide and left, right, and centre, and then not landing. Maybe he was trying too hard. And I don't think Declan Rice can be accused of doing that. He kept it simple, kept the ball. I think Steve pointed out he only lost the ball once and one stray pass. I mean, it's not bad at all. Yeah, I can't look at it. Like I said, we see what you're saying, but yeah, for me, I don't see it as an issue. Rice's performance in the league did decline at the back end of last season. I mean, West Ham were poo. Like, I don't think we can dig any more into that. Like, a lot of people's form declined. I don't like his head was probably elsewhere. He wanted to get that final over and join us. Early days being coached by Arteta, and he'll only get better. Look how Xhaka improved. Completely agree. Sipo says Rice did the right thing keeping possession. It allows the rest of us to rest on offence instead of giving it back. And Man City against Forest, he will pass forward more. Yeah, no. I agree. Yeah. I agree. How you doing? All right,
Gary.
Next, Gary. That's it, Gary. Next up, where is Erling Haaland? Please release him. Please release him. At least a day release, something. Give him back to Man City. Absolutely bossed it the other day, William Saliba, but not without his Brazilian counterpart, Gabriel. While Gabriel was roasting him on the Brazilian barbecue, Saliba was giving it the old salt bay with a bit of je ne sais quoi. What a partnership them two are striking up. Absolutely unbelievable yesterday. Saliba, I don't think Haaland got a shot off, was dragged off from like the 65th minute. And yeah, he deserves all the plaudits he gets, Saliba. And so does Gabriel. We cannot forget about Gabriel as well. Top performances from the defence, and we're focused on these two first, but we'll speak about Ben White and Timber afterwards, Steve. Top performance from those two at the back didn't give Haaland a sniff at all, did they?
No. I thought you was going to go into a rendition of Tom Jones at the beginning.
I nearly did start singing, please. You don't want to hear my voice.
But yeah, do you know what? I mean, Gabriel, all the plaudits goes to Saliba, didn't they? And rightly so, to be honest with you, because he's absolutely unbelievable. And Gabriel gets a little bit lost in it sometimes. You know, he doesn't get as talked about as much. Everything's Saliba. And like I said, rightly so. But Gabriel, you know, next to him, those two together, as you say, you're so right to bring the pair up, because I've seen it could be very, very easy to concentrate on what Saliba was doing in that game.
Which everyone did. If you look at Twitter straight afterwards, all you see is Haaland didn't get a shot off goal. Saliba's the king. And you're like, he did have a defensive partner with him, and Gabriel played really well.
I mean, and Gabriel is, you know, they can't. They're like, you know, they're a pair, and they come as a pair. Lauren Hardy, and you know whatever. But it's not. Do you know what I was saying? I was going to try and think of something better than that, but it's not.
Cagney and Lacey.
Cagney and Lacey. Starsky and Hutch. Bonnie and Clyde. Maybe the boys can think of something a bit more.
Jordan and Pippen, but
Lennon and McCartney.
Lennon McCartney, Bill and Ben.
Did they say?
Rosie,
Did you say
Bill and
Cagney
Ben.
and Lacey? Did anyone say that?
I said Cagney and
Yeah.
Lacey.
Bill
Oh,
and
you
Ben,
did,
Rosie
sorry.
and Jim.
There we
We can
go.
go on forever. But no, just back to the land of the living. But no, he Gabriel. I mean, last season there was times when I sort of pulled him up a few times on mistakes, and times when I think he was caught. But I mean, I think I'm more I look at it now, I think I'm being unfair because he is some defender, and without one, the other one wouldn't be as good. And I genuinely believe that if Kior was better, when Holding came in for Saliba, Gabriel wasn't the same player. And if Gabriel was injured, then I dare say Saliba's form would suffer as well. They was fantastic. I mean, again, Saliba with Ireland. I mean, it was just. I just think he wanted to get off it, and in the end, I think he was.
He had enough.
I think he was glad to get off. I mean, what is he capable of? This Saliba, what is he capable of? I mean, we don't want to, but I suppose, with success and when you get these type of players, you're going to get Real Madrid's going to be knocking soon, aren't they? You're going to get clubs like this wanting him for 100 million, 120 million, so it's really good. But it's just, he is something else. I mean, just you go on like the title last year. Look, I mean, people say, oh, you can't bring up one player. You can't, it's what happens in the segment. You can't because it happens. And that's the only reason why you can't bring it up. But it does make a difference. It does. If City didn't have Haaland, they're not winning the title next last season. I guarantee you, if Saliba was fit, last season next to Gabriel, we win that title. No one would tell me any different, right? We would not be losing those games because not only does he, what he does, Kieran, as well, he breeds confidence into the people in front of him. Nothing against Holding. He come in, he done a job, but he would not give you the confidence into the midfield and the players going forward as what William Saliba does. Absolutely excellent. But yeah, let's not forget Gabriel because between the pair of them, that was an outstanding performance.
Jerome, William Saliba, Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
Rolls Royce, as Zinchenko said. What a player, what a game. And Gabriel there to help him as well.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, there was one of the pre-match press conferences when they were in America, and Arteta did one with Zinchenko. And I think the reporter asked Arteta a question about Saliba, and Arteta turned to Zinchenko and said to him, like, what do you think of Saliba? Basically, like, how good is this guy? Like, what do you think of him? And you never, ever, ever see a manager ask another player, what are your thoughts on this player? And they never do. It just doesn't happen. Yeah. And yeah, it's not only his defensive stuff. It's just how calm he is on the ball. And to be fair, they were brilliant, Saliba and Gabriel, amazing. But I think he had something silly like maybe 13 touches, Haaland. And you've got to give a lot of credit for cutting out the supply. Obviously, the centre halves have got to mark him, but the team have got to stop him from getting the ball. And so a lot of credit has to go to the whole team for that, making sure that he doesn't receive it.
Yeah.
I think when people were talking about Haaland, about City going to have to change, the start of last season, how's he going to fit in there? It's because Haaland he's just a pure goal scorer. Like that's what he is. And so if he doesn't, if you don't let him touch the ball, like you've got a very good chance against him. But
easier said than done against Man City.
It is like, because he just needs to have one touch, but they you heard the expression like being marked out the game. Like he was marked out the game.
Yeah.
And not a lot of teams and players can do that against him.
No, definitely not. I agree. And there was at one point where you just seen Saliba chasing him down, got the ball off him. It was like nothing, just nipped in front. And then I think he turned around to go to the other defender, and it was Gabriel, and it was just like, nah, not today, mate. Melvin, Saliba looking sharp, the defence looking a lot sharper in that game against City.
Yeah, normally when a player like him comes back, you'd say it's after a big injury for a long time. You say it's like a new signing. Well, I disagree. It's like a new defence when he comes back. It changes everything. You think when we played away to City last season in the league, and we had a holding, and people kept saying he's doing a good job holding, he's doing a good job. Well, that game exposed him for what he is. He's a okay centre half, but Saliba is a wonderful centre half. The gap between them isn't 2 points; it's 122 points. It is so different. We play differently. As I say, we got the confidence around him. He can give the ball straight away, can hold it. People can go out positions. It's a whole different ball game with him. He's such a fantastic footballer. I just, you're saying 100 million, Steve. If Arsenal sold him for 100 million to Real Madrid, I think everyone in the world would go, what? What are you doing, Arsenal? Are you mad? Are you really mad? It's totally the wrong price. I hope there isn't a price, but it's totally the wrong price. He is just, when he ran to the touchline with Haaland, and normally Haaland would gives the centre half a dig, try and muscle his way past. What he did, he cut back and ran back 40 yards with the ball because that's the only way he knew he's going to keep possession of the ball. Yeah, he had no other option. He didn't want to take him on. Because on the deck, it's very difficult to beat this guy. Yeah, I just think, and then Gabriel. Though, listen, if you're going to do anything in football, you need a good centre half pairing. No team over a season wins a league with one good and one okay centre half. They've both got to be on it, and they've both got to be a team between the two of them. They've both got to complement each other, and that's what we've got at the moment. It's fantastic. I think Kiwior will get a few games as well because we can't play the Salibas and Gabriel. I know we've done it with Gabriel the last few seasons. We can't play them every game. I think the manager's got to earn his corn this year and know when to rest players.
He's got to have trust in the other players that he's brought in.
Yeah.
100% agree. Ronak, quickly go to the comments before I go to the next one. Ronak says, a lot of top-class players, but Saliba, for me, is properly world-class. He gets in every team in the world tomorrow, regardless of who he's going up against. I think, for me, the word world-class, yes, he's playing at a level which you could probably call world-class, but I think you've got to add consistency if you're talking about a world-class player, consistency over a few seasons. I don't see him dropping off, but I just want to see it over this season and next season, and you're like, this kid's world-class. We've got a world-class player on our hands, that it's just consistency. Other than that, but I agree, he's playing at that level now. Arteta and Edu have to start getting some credit from our fan base for the recruitment and the squad they've built. I completely agree. At every point where it seems like a transfer has taken a little bit longer, the old Edu's Eustace starts to come out, and then as soon as we get it over the line, it's completely forgotten about. Everyone's putting up the memes of him doing the barbecue and smoking a cigar. So I think you've got to start trusting some of their movements.
I think we got to start complimenting the Cronkies as well.
Yeah.
We've put them down over enough times over, and probably rightly so. Certain transfer windows, especially when we didn't get Champions League, and plenty. But at the moment, there, Josh said a little while ago that we should be get excited in the future, and he was right, wasn't it? May have took a little bit longer, but we should start because he's definitely put his hand in his pocket.
Yeah, no. Do you know, Steve? Today, 60 years from the Great Train Robbery. Now we think we know where the money went. I think the Cronkies got it. All of a sudden, do you know what? I think money. All of a sudden that we never had.
No, do you know what I think it is? Do you know what I think it is? That in America, they're getting a taste of success. Before they wasn't successful in America, the Cronkies. They run sort of sports teams who really never won anything. Now they're starting to win things, and they're liking it. They're liking the taste. and now I think they want to win. They want to win the the Premier League, and I think he'll give Arteta whatever he likes.
The Premier League is the mecca.
You're probably right, Steve. But a big thing is, I think, Josh taking the reins.
Yeah,
that's a big thing, big factor.
This probably ties into my next point with regards to it not being just Saliba and Gabriel. Ben White, of course, it deserves his plaudits. I think Steve mentioned it earlier. We're seeing extra things from Ben White. We're seeing him. He looked like more of a right back in my eyes. That's not to take away anything that he's done over the last season or so, but I just think that, especially against City the other day, he was just a bit more dynamic. He was just getting in the box more, up and down the pitch a bit more. For me personally, my starting lineup come Saturday would be what started the other day, purely based on it's what I've seen in pre-season. So it's what I'd start on the weekend. Steve, who would you start at the back on Saturday?
I agree with exactly everything you said, mate. Same team that started. Ben White, we already said at the beginning there, he seems to, especially over like these last few friendlies, stepped up, and he's obviously feels that his place is going to be under a little bit of threat, because now he's got quite a lot of decent, or more than decent, sort of players behind him who are going to be, fighting, who are going to want his position. And Ben White's got, what we've all said in the past. We've not slagged Ben White. I mean, Ben White was close to being one of the probably player of the year with a lot of people last year. He was that good. So I don't think we can say at any point last year he was wrong. He had a fantastic season. It was just we were still saying we still probably need another right back to do different things. And from what we've seen, he's doing them. So you can't drop him. And I bet you that's why. I think probably having Zinchenko unfit has probably done Arteta a favour, because now he can put Timber in there, and Timber looks like he's just slotted into that left back position fantastically. So he can keep people happy at the moment. No, Ben White was fantastic. Some of the runs he was getting down on that right hand side going forward, totally outstanding. That little thing where he doubled back and turned the left back inside out to get the ball across. Brilliant piece of skill, and that's what you want to do. If there was anything that I would have said from Ben White that we probably needed a little bit more of, was that little bit more sort of fluidity when he got up the other end of the pitch, because it was probably a little bit one-dimensional from him. You knew as Arsenal fans, we knew what he was going to do. Where eventually, I think, other teams probably maybe this season would have sort of read Ben White and what he was going to do, because he normally did the same thing quite a few times, very well, I may ask, but I still think that Arteta would have said to him, "We need a bit more from you," and he's doing that. He looks slimmed down again. He looks fitter, and we all know Ben White, similar to Aaron Ramsdale, he's someone up for the fight. Personally, we got to look at him as a defender as well. And again, you have to say, Jack Grealish never got a look in that, even though he was on the pitch. So, 10 out of 10 for Ben White. He definitely starts for me on Saturday.
Jerome, who would your back four be?
Oh yeah, I think the back four picks itself because of Zinchenko's injury. I think if Zinchenko was fit, then it would be a really difficult call to make. I think if Zinchenko is fit in our team, he plays. But I don't know if you were planning on talking about this, because the games are seeming to go on a lot longer now with the extra injury time that's being added. Like Zinchenko, I think they'll share games. I think you'll see our right back or our left back come off after 70 minutes some games, because they're putting in so much effort. And now you're going to play with the Champions League, sort of Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday. You're going to rotate. It's impossible to choose the same back fullbacks 3 times in 7 days. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need to worry about sort of who starts in an ideal scenario, because they're all going to play a lot of football.
Yeah, I agree. Melvin, He says if they're all fit.
Exactly. That's the question. Not who's going to play on Saturday. It's a different question we've been
If
asked.
they're all fit.
If they're all fit, I would. You've got to drop or miss out. Some great players are going to miss out, whoever you pick. And I would pick Timber at right back, Zinchenko at left back, and obviously the 2 centre backs.
Okay, very attacking.
Yeah, and we don't even know about the goalkeeper yet. There might be a different goalkeeper as well in the mix. So I would play that, especially at home. And I'd like to see how Timber gets on with Saka, because he's got a very good relationship, Saka, with White. You know, he does, but he's not a natural fullback. Right, he did brilliantly for us, brilliantly. And I think where I'd give the edge to Timber, though I've only seen him a few games, he looks like a proper fullback, a proper footballer. Where White, because he's so tall, it takes him that slight more time to turn than, say, Timber would turn. So I would fancy on a standing start, the pair of them, to turn and run. I reckon Timber would be much better off. Lower gravity as well. But you can't knock White. I mean, you're talking about very high competition for every place. And like I said earlier, they're going to mix and match Arsenal. We're going to mix and match it now. I'd hope we do, because if we don't, we're silly. You've got to use the players you've got, because at the end of this season coming, we don't want again to all our players to be on their knees. It's happened twice in 2 seasons. That's enough now.
When we're playing,
would have learned.
Yeah, when we're playing Gabriel in games against second division opposition and Saka in the Carabao Cup, it's like, you need to start resting players.
Exactly.
You need to start rotating and giving these other players an opportunity to get some minutes under their belt, because you've got to keep the squad happy.
Can I just say, I would never have thought this. Let's get it right. It's only one game or a couple of games we've seen Timber at left back or whatever, but from early doors and sort of just seeing him, over a few games, Zinchenko would come straight in if he wouldn't have even been a fault before. But if he was to keep going on this form for, say, Zinchenko was out for the next 3 games, for me, Timber is the better all-round left back if he plays like that, because Timber can do everything. Tierney and Zinchenko can't. Timber's a very good defender. Timber can play the inverted role, and Timber's very good going forward. Tierney can't play the inverted thingy role. Not great at going forward. He's all right, right? And Zinchenko, right, is good at inverted, good going forward, but not great at being defence. So if I put all them 3 together and they're all playing at their top level, for me, Timber is the one that goes in.
All right. And just seeing as you've accidentally answered Ryan's question, it's perfect. Does this spell the end for Tierney?
No, not at all. Yeah. But because Melvin said, you're gonna need, a players playing in all different positions all over the park. So for me, it doesn't spell the end for Kieran Tierney, because again, not being guilty of repeating what Melvin said, but after 70 minutes or maybe even 60 minutes with all the time adding on that's going to go on, Tierney is your ideal guy to come on and do a job. Again, he can do jobs that probably better than Timber and Zinchenko can do. Maybe after 60 minutes when we want to hold out a game, or we need to defend, or so Tierney gives you that little bit extra where he can defend and go forward. So you don't have to just have him sort of as a passenger because he just sits back. He can do both things. So again, horses for courses. Tierney will be brought in for certain games and at certain times when we need him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how often we'd see the Melbourne's lineup of both Zinchenko and Timber. I know Timber plays in that centre back role as well, so he should be able to slot in the three quite easy. So yeah, I mean, I think all of them work. What else did I notice? Aaron Ramsdale looking a lot sharper. Not only was his distribution better, yes, he had that stinker towards the end, but Thomas Partey cleaned it up. But overall, I thought he looked a lot sharper in the game. He was two excellent saves, one with his feet and one at the front post, and obviously saved the penalty as well. Do you think the news of David Raya has anything to do with Aaron Ramsdale picking up in form? Plus, hold on. Actually, when he was asked about the possible arrival of Raya, he said, "Bring it on. Nothing comes easy in football, but also at the same time, you need to move along and adapt well. I've done it to other people when I move to clubs, and I'm not going to be thinking that that's never going to happen to me." So yeah, I think if it happens, it happens, and then we have to fight and we'll make each other the best versions of ourselves, because that's what the manager is telling us as well. I'm sure whoever plays, me, Matt, or whoever comes in, the goalkeeping union, people will laugh, but it's a real thing. Yes, it is a real thing. And your individual disappointment will go away, and you'll put the team first, and you'll put that goalkeeper first as well. Steve, bring it on. Fight and talk. Exactly what is expected from Aaron Ramsdale.
I mean, it's Aaron Ramsdale, isn't it? You know, as you said, it's just what we expect from him. You know, we've seen him now for a good couple of years now, and he's going to be hard to shift. There's no doubt about it. Do I think his performance against Man City the weekend was anything to? No, not really, because I expect that from Aaron Ramsdale anyway. I've seen him do that on countless times. I just think he'll go out there and be himself, and I'm sure that's what Mikel Arteta was saying. Just go out there and be yourself, do what you do, and don't change. I think what he will want to change, there's definitely certain aspects of the game that Ray has been brought in that's better than Ramsdale, and I think Ramsdale. I think he'll want to learn from Raya on certain aspects of the game. I think that's why he's been brought in. He made two absolutely world-class saves. And I just so pleased for him. But as Arsenal fans, I think they'll both get equally as probably a man at a time. I think maybe not equally, but I'm sure Arteta will probably maybe play one in like Champions League games and in like Europe, and one in cup games, and will he swapping around in the league? I don't know. I can't see that. It's an unusual thing to do, but we'll have to wait and see. I thought he was a little bit nervous at the beginning, Aaron Ramsdale, with the game. There was a couple of times where he had to get the ball out of his feet a bit sharpish, but I think that's why he's brought Raya in, because he's very good at that.
Yeah.
As far as when Ramsdale's got the ball in his hands or he's got time, then Ramsdale can just ping balls out like a midfield player. Bosh, fantastic distribution. But he's a little bit when the ball's close up to him, he does sometimes get a little bit nervous. Where I think I've seen some clips of Raya over the last today, and he's so calm, cool, and collective. And you can see, why he's brought him on that from that respect. But I think it's been interesting. It's great for Arsenal fans to have two incredible keepers like that fighting it out to see who's going to be number one.
Yeah, 100%. Jerome, Ramsdale looking sharper. A couple of really good saves, important saves in the game as well, especially that one where he was at 1-0 down.
Yeah, I thought that save from the corner was brilliant.
Yeah, front post.
Like real instinct save. Mm-hmm. The one where I think it might have been Foden was going through, and it sort of just went past the post.
Yeah,
that's what you call that was like a game changing save.
Yeah, it was.
obviously, yeah, this Raya stuff is going to impact him a lot. He needs to be focused because he knows that he's got someone that is as good, if not maybe even better than him. And that wasn't the case with Turner. And it's never really the case with any club with their keepers. This is such a unique scenario. Like, Arteta's not mucking about, is he? This is like when people say they want a manager to be ruthless, this is like, this is ruthless plus, because you don't normally put pressure on a number one like this. And it's going to be fascinating to see what happens. Like, you think, knowing what we know about Ramsdale's character, he's going to take it very well. Like, he's not going to sulk, and hopefully he'll want to prove that he's the best, or the better out of the two. So I'm sure it's going to have a positive impact. But it's a crazy scenario, really, when you think about it. Like, it's mental. Like, Kieran, what do you think about it? Because obviously, as we all know, you're the keeper amongst us. This is crazy. This signing.
Yeah, no, it is. At first, my first thought was why, but I've said since. I think it's Arsenal have taken an opportunity here. Obviously, Brentford wanted 40 million, but we was never going to pay the 40 million. He's got 1 year left in his contract, and we're the only club that's seriously moving for him. Looks like Bayern Munich pulled out. So yeah, it seems like an opportunity in it, and it just fits. He's a keeper that Arsenal have admired for a little while now, and why not? If we're talking about stiff competition, that you couldn't get any stiffer than that. Matt Turner's too much stylistically different to Aaron Ramsdale or even what Arsenal want. He's not a ball-playing goalkeeper, and Arsenal need that. But it's not just a ball-playing goalkeeper that they need. They need a good ball-playing goalkeeper that is good at saving shots as well, because that's the most important thing, which is why I think they brought in Turner in the first place, because he's a good shot stopper. But I did hear David Seaman made a point the other day, and he was like, well, when I was goalkeeper, they brought in Richard Wright. And I know Richard Wright didn't work out for us, and I know he's a bit of a calamity in the end. But Richard Wright, when we bought him, was a very highly regarded goalkeeper when he was bought. It wasn't like we was buying a second. It was like you bought a potential England goalkeeper there. And it was a bit like that at the time. So I think with players like Aaron Ramsdale, you've seen his response, and I don't think that's just for the cameras, because it sounds good. I don't think it's a hot take. I think he really means it. Bring it on, and that's the kind of thing. As a goalkeeper, you've got to be thick-skinned and understand that this can happen at any time. Because if anyone's form is being scrutinised on that pitch, it's 100% going to be the goalkeepers who's scrutinised the most. Melvin, it's good to hear Aaron Ramsdale putting up a fight rather than wincing away.
Yeah, you got to expect that. That's the type of character he is. He made those two very good saves, excellent. But there is a but coming. He got away with it with that pass down the middle. It reminded me of the was it the Southampton one he gave away?
Yeah.
And people say you're good if you learn by your mistakes. Obviously, he hasn't, and that's a worry. So, and the other one was he seemed to panic a bit when the ball was going across our goal line, and Haaland was bearing down on him. I mean, most people would panic, but he could have hit the ball a second or two earlier to stop all that panic, and that worries me as well. I'm not saying it because we've got another goalie in. I mean, Ramsdale's very good, but there has been points like last season we gave away too many goals from corners where he stuck on his line, wouldn't come out. And he actually, I think we've had one or two go directly in. I think against Aston Villa at home, he let one in a direct corner. No goalie should do that, in my opinion. He wasn't blocked in that one either. He basically lost sight of the flight of the ball.
Yeah.
But he's a very good goalkeeper. Yeah, it's great because now he knows he's got to be 100% on it. Even against Man United in the pre-season, their first goal, he seemed to be asleep. To be beaten outside the box, and the ball was quite close to him. Do you remember the goal that they scored, United?
What the
first one?
Bruno
The
Fernandes
captain's
one?
Yes, yeah. He seemed to be a little bit asleep. I know it was a boring game, but he didn't need to be asleep. And I was a bit dismayed about that. Not just letting the ball in from that footballer, but you look at it again and go. First of all, when you saw it, you thought, how did that go in? Cool, I must have taken a big deflection. And when you see it again, it didn't. Basically, his feet were wrong and his hands were wrong. So yeah, this would be good for him because it's going to push him psychologically. It's going to push him. Even if he doesn't, in the forefront of his mind, he knows now he's got to do the right thing every time, not just some of the time. So it's good for Arsenal. Very good.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely can't forget that Raya has 3 years on Aaron Ramsdale as well, and 3 years of development is a lot. So Raya may be the better goalkeeper right now, but as we know, Ramsdale's got a very high bar. But it's about progression, and we want to see that progression for Aaron Ramsdale. Maybe it takes another goalkeeper to get that out of him. And finally, this is a bit of a random one, not going a bit off pace with this one. Fabio Vieira. People need to get off Fabio Vieira's back. There's a lot of talk about Fabio Vieira. I hear people slandering the kid, saying he's shit, saying he's that. And I just don't know what you're watching. Could he have been better last season? Can he be sharper with regards to knowing the pace of the Premier League and he can't dwell on the ball too long? Yes, 100%. But he didn't have a pre-season last season. He's had a pre-season now. And even in the little short bits I've seen of pre-season, even especially the other day, he looked a lot sharper. Mikel Arteta likes him, and I just don't see him not playing this season. I see him getting more opportunities this season. The talk of why can't he play when he can play, mate, it's just not going to happen. Mikel Arteta is a big fan of this kid, and I can see why he's kind of seeing him as a bit of a project player. And if we can get him to ride the challenges a bit more, think more in that term, because I don't see him bulking up. It's just not going to happen. He's not got that frame unless he comes back like Leon Goretzka. I just don't see it. I just think he just needs to be smarter with timing of his passing and starting to learn to ride the challenges. But once if he can do that, I think we've got a serious player on our hands. Steve, Fabio Vieira come on the other day. Good to see him scoring that winning penalty. Very happy.
Yeah. I'm a fan. You know, I'm a fan of Vieira. I'm someone who can see what he's capable of. I see the things that he does. I see that. Look, I see the mistakes. I see where he can improve. But I also see the talent he's got. I also see his movement off the ball. I see, you know, that he's a player who, you know, is, you know, definitely someone in the mould of Mikel Arteta. You can see like the reason why he likes him. He's not on the same level, of course, but he reminds me of a little bit of how Bernardo Silva could be. You know, that player who runs through from the midfield and, you know, sometimes pops up on the right and he's got a shot on him, very silky, good on the ball, you know, can do special things. Maybe that's something that Arteta sees in as well. But look, I mean, he didn't really give it he didn't have a great season last year. When we see him, you know, he did make mistakes, and in games he never really got going. But, you know, to be fair, it probably wasn't a good thing that he came into a side that was going for the title, because if Arsenal wasn't going to the title, he probably would have got more game time. He probably would have seen more on him, and then he would have probably looked like a better player, and he probably would have learnt more. But because he was sort of starved game time, because we really couldn't, you know, afford to bring him in too many games, you know, it was difficult for him to get going. And, you know, we've seen over the years players who, you know, have came into the club, and it takes time, and I think as long as you're someone who you can see what he's capable of, as long as you can see his talent, which I'm sure most of us can, then I think he's going to be a good player for Arsenal. I think he's going to be whether he'll be a starter every week, probably not. But again, someone who could be knocking on the door, pushing, I think it's a big season for him this year. Like Smith Rowe, he's someone I'm looking forward to stepping on, going to see what he can do for us. I agree with you the fact that people should get off his back a bit. It's not like he played week in, week out last season. He was making, he had terrible games. People do love to pick up, didn't they? They love to find a player and to pick on, and I think Vieira was that one last year. But from what I see, especially he was very good against Man City. I'm pleased to see he had a good game and hope to see him more next season and do more of the same.
Yeah. Jerome, Fabio Vieira tucked away that penalty very well, didn't he? Hopefully he has a better season than last season.
Yeah, very, very nice to score the winning penalty. Great for his confidence. I think the major hurdle for Vieira, or the thing that is sort of limiting his playing time, is that for me, his best position is where the captain plays.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a left winger. I don't think he's really a right winger, to be honest. He can do a job out there, but he's not, in our system, the way we play, he's not really like a like-for-like sort of Saka replacement. I think his best position is where Odegaard plays. I know he tried him where Granit Xhaka played last season. That didn't work. I think playing midfield of him and Odegaard and a defensive midfield is not stable enough. So I think that's the main thing that goes against him, is where he plays on the pitch. But yeah, because you can't really see Arteta sort of dropping Odegaard too many times.
But Odegaard can't play. I think this is what I was saying earlier. Odegaard can't play in the Champions League, the Premier League, the Carabao Cup, and the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Like, if we get into that stage there, we're doing the same thing as we're doing last season, and we're going to get to February, March, and they're all going to be blowing.
Yeah, true. So maybe he'll rotate a little bit extra with Odegaard, but Odegaard is so key to the way that we play and being the captain. And he's got an amazing engine, Odegaard, as well. Like he puts it in for the whole 90. It's a tough one. It's a tough one with Vieira.
Yeah, Melvin, I know you're a bit dubious about Vieira. What's your expectations from this season?
I think he will improve. He's got to improve. To stay at the Arsenal, he's got to improve, because I want him to do well. He's got some fabulous touches, but for him to remain an Arsenal player, he's got to really, really do it this season. There's too much competition now in the first team squad. 20-odd players. You just can't afford to have a good game once every 5 weeks, and that he ain't going to play every 5 weeks. Let's remember that as well. I think he's obviously he's talented. He's got to adapt. I think if he adapts, great, we've got a player in our hands. But at the moment, he hasn't adapted. It might be it's his first season. We saw what Pires was like after one season. A lot of people thought, who is this guy? I'd actually watched him a bit, Pires. I knew that he was half decent before he came to the Arsenal. People were saying to me, he's nothing like Overmars. Well, he's a totally different player. It wasn't a like for like. I know we sold Overmars the same season we bought Pires, and he played on the same wing. But I think this might be hopefully the same case for him. He'll find his position, and I think you're probably right, Jerome. I think Odegaard is probably his better position. Gives him a chance to go both ways past the player and bring more players into the game. He has been disappointing for me the first season. Perhaps I've been a bit overcritical, because he seems, because of his physique, he seems a little boy lost in certain games. He seems like he's like, wherever the ball is, he's somewhere else. He's going in the wrong direction. And he's, as I say, he's this season now, hopefully he'll adapt to the English game. And because I've seen clips of him when he was playing for the previous club, he looked outstanding. He looked a bit like Pepe playing for in the French league. This is like waltzing past players. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's the same type of play. I'm just saying sometimes you think we're playing, going, he looks good on that, but can he do it in our league? There's a possibility he can, and I think that, as you say, Steve, there's a possibility he could be more than a decent player. But I think it's a very important season for this. I don't think Arsenal now, where we are and what we're doing, can afford to say another season, no, he hasn't done him, let's give him another chance. I don't think we're going to do that. I think this is his season. It's a lot of pressure to put on him. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's the way we are at the moment.
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's keeping up the standards, which is always a good thing. And as I was saying before, I'd like a good run in the cup. Carabao Cup is always a cup where I see it as being able to give those other players an opportunity. FA Cup, definitely take it a bit more seriously, but you can definitely rotate the squad a bit more. And with the strength and depth we've got, we've essentially got two teams there, if you look at it. And two teams that should be able to, one at least should be able to have a nice run in both of the cups. And then when you get to the Champions League, it's your first 11. All right, time for transfer news quickly. Let's breeze through these. Pepe agrees personal terms with Besiktas. Steve, finally, Pepe going. Never looked like he was going to sort of come back in the squad and do anything. Had a bit of a disappointing, underwhelming loan back to France, which probably says where he's at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, he's not in Mikel Arteta's plans, has he? I mean, maybe I don't think he ever has been. To be fair, I think he was Emery's last sign. It was Emery's signing, wasn't he? Pepe?
Not really. No, Emery was at the club, but they reckon that he wanted the guy from Crystal Palace instead, and the guy at the top of Arsenal, the guy who was doing our transfer dealings, went for Pepe.
It was that Gavidis, wasn't it, at the time?
I think it was him. Yeah, the guy that had that position at Arsenal went for him.
Yeah.
So you can't put it down to him. He wanted the winger. What's his name?
No, but then again, saying that at the same time, I mean, when we bought him, he looked tasty. I mean, Arsenal fans was all very, very excited and that. So, but he's never got going. Yes, he's got. He's saying about him. He can bring out the special thing. He can score. Special goals. But he's just not got the consistency to play in a top Premier League side. And I hope he just goes on to be better things because he seems a good lad. And just get him off the wages book. So, and hopefully he'll go on and do well wherever he ends up.
Yeah. Jerome, Pepe, it's not worked out at Arsenal. If you look at his stats, they're not bad, especially in the first season. I think he got 20 goal contributions. Second season started to be sort of dropped out of the team a lot more. Still a half decent output when you add his Europa League goals, but never really Mikel Arteta's style of player, was he?
Yeah, no, he was never a fan, was he, from day one? And I just can't believe that we bought someone for that amount of money and we're not going to recoup any of it. If anything, we have to probably pay him off to leave. I can't believe it, really. Shows how far his sort of stars has fallen. Crazy, really.
Melvin, better that we just get this off the book. Got a new squad, clean slate.
Oh, we definitely want to be forgot. We definitely want to forget him. He had a cultured left foot. Trouble is, he kept kicking with his right foot a lot of the time. But
not on purpose either.
No, you're right. He had this beautiful. Some of the goals he scored were outstanding, absolutely outstanding. He thought, "Oh, this is it. This is it. Turn the corner. No, never happened. Wasn't consistent at all." Yeah. I think I thought when we did that deal and I saw him play after a few months, I honestly thought, I know we're not in America, but I thought the FBI should have been called in for what we paid. Something weren't right, was it? Let's face it.
People were like, oh,
never heard of him.
This
never
guy,
heard of him.
Pepe, wait until you see him. I'm like, 72 million. I should know his first, second, and third name. Like, what are you talking about?
True. Yeah.
I've never heard of him. For 72 million, everyone needs to have heard of him. Like, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Josh Kroenke said, let's be happy. No, what's the expression he used?
Be excited.
Get excited. Yeah, be excited. I thought at the time that Josh Kroenke knew nothing about English football, and he probably thought we were signing Pele at the time. That's what I thought.
It was more like Pepe Le Pew rather than
Pepe.
Pepe Nicholas Pepe.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That was
not good.
And you got to think, Kieran, if we're bidding 72 to get him, what's the other club that's bidding? What are they bidding? 70? I reckon
Napoli
the bid below that was 32 or something.
Yeah, Napoli were.
What's all
Yeah,
that about?
there was no way Napoli were paying 70 odd million.
Nowhere
for
near.
Nicholas Pepe.
Nowhere near.
One that came out of the blue. This one, Ansu Fati. But Barcelona respond to Arsenal's surprise approach for Ansu Fati. Both player, according to the Sport, both Arsenal approached both Ansu Fati and Barcelona, but they turned it down with Ansu Fati wanting to stay at the club and fight for his place at Barcelona. So no Ansu Fati at Arsenal this season as backup or competition for Bukayo Saka. Real Sociedad want Arsenal defender Kieran Tierney to help launch their Champions League challenge. Quick one, Steve. Would you even contemplate selling Kieran Tierney in this window?
No, there's something in it. This is true. It's not like something someone's just pulled out the hat because the rumours about Tierney leaving. They actually do want him, but at this time in the minute, this late in the window, I don't think it's something that could happen. And yeah, they want a loan, and it's that it just doesn't make no sense. There's no sense in it. And I'll be absolutely fuming if Arsenal got rid of him. But so he's already Arteta's turned man and said he's part of the plans next season. So I can't see him going anywhere.
Yeah, Jerome, would you be selling Kieran Tierney in this window?
In all honesty, I think if we can get some money for him, I think so. Because I just can't see him playing a lot of football. I think he's probably fifth choice left back at the moment.
Nah, fifth choice.
You've got Zinchenko, you've got Timber, you've got Tomiyasu, you've got Kyrgios, and you've got Tierney.
I personally think it's more down to styles. I think, and I don't think Timber's come in and played left back because Tierney can't do the inverted role. So in my eyes, I don't see Melvin's lineup of the back four, which he picked earlier, because I see that as you've got two players that essentially play that inverted role, and I see it having a bit more balance than that. And if Timber plays, you're probably going to see a Tierney on the left. That's my opinion. Melvin, would you sell Tierney at this point?
I would.
Yeah.
For the same reason what Jerome's given. Yeah, I think we've got plenty of cover there. And if we're going to use it for another purchase, I mean, we're allegedly looking for another right-sided attacker. Because is Nelson good enough to replace Saka? Because he needs a rest. Let's face it, the guy does need a rest.
He does.
If Nelson they reckon can do it, fine. But if not, we need someone to take his place. So I don't think Trossard, as good as he is, I've seen him a couple of times play on the right. It doesn't seem natural for him for some reason. Some right footers are good at cutting inside on their right foot, on the left. And when he was on the right, obviously, it's a different ball game. So, yeah, I would do. If we're going to use the money, I'll definitely do it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's going to be very, very frustrated not playing. Very frustrated.
I can't see how he won't get game time, though. I can see that he will get game time. If we're talking about, we spoke about earlier how, we want players in every position to double up. And how we're going to need players for cup. How we're going to need players in the last 20 minutes, 70 minutes. How we're going to need players against every different side. For me, I might be wrong, but for me, Kieran Tierney is our best left-sided defensive back on the left-hand side. I think he's better than Timber, better than Zinchenko, better than Kyrgios, better than Tommy Asu. And I again, it's all opinions, but why would you get rid of your best defensive left back?
I think he'll play.
I don't think. Yeah, go on, mate. Sorry,
Steve. I think he will play, but I don't think he'll start. I think he'll be the type of player that after 70 minutes he might come on. And as a player, there's something being a footballer, amateur or whatever, that you want to get on that pitch and start a game. Coming on a sub is okay. But there's no other feeling of being around your teammates, getting out the dressing room and getting on that pitch and starting a game. For me, it was anyway. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, but then after squad will leave, then Melv, wouldn't they?
I think, in my opinion, I think Kieran Tierney,
Vieira will leave. Where they got Jorginho will leave, then Tommy Asu will leave. They're just going to get as much game time as Tierney, I think.
I think with Tierney, I think he's got to, when he does come in, he's got to have a good game. He's got to hit the ground running. He's got to give him the best opportunity to have a next game when he does come in. It's going to be a disjointed season for him. He's not a starter. But yeah, I see a place for him in the squad. I think last season he was underused. And then when he was brought in, it was like he's not played for like 10 games. And he expected him to hit the ground running. It's tough. So he needs to get that mentality. He needs to get ready, prepared for that, because that's his current role.
What goes against Tierney is he's the only fullback in our team that can only play one position.
No, I think he can play as the centre back, a left centre back.
We don't play that formation though. We play two.
We have been though. We have. If you watch like
in pre-season they played a three.
In pre-season they go halfway. They like I said at the beginning. Arsenal keep changing the formation. Like Declan Rice will go to right back. Someone will drop in here, and all of a sudden, from going to like a 4-4-2 or 3-3-4, all of a sudden there'll be a 3-4-3, and they're swapping around. And it's what Pep does. He does it. He's done it for years. So Mikel Arteta hasn't been able to do that because he hasn't had the quality to be able to do that during the game. Man City do it all the time. Stones moves into midfield. Silva's popping up at left back. We see it all the time. We've seen it for years under Pep. But now Arteta, he's been at Man City. He's learned under Pep. He wants to play the same way. But to do that, you have to have a lot of quality players to be able to slit into different positions. And and that's what I've seen during the pre-season, I think.
I'll quickly go through these. Nelson, you huge downgrade from Saka. Not saying Nelson's a bad player, but so inconsistent and injury prone. Tierney is a good left back, but simply can't do what Arteta needs from him. It's a shame that Arteta moved from that type of defender. And Timber inverted on the right, Tierney on the left, to swoop it up a bit. False. It's that's my thinking. That's my thinking, Johnny. If you're going to play Timber on the right, you go for the classic left back, which is what I see Ben White as. Quickly move through these. Jorginho, rumours about him wanting to leave and to move to Turkey. Well, rumours about Fenerbahce wanting him could be true, but rumours that Jorginho wants to leave are apparently not true. His agent has come out and said that he wants to stay and fight for his place at Arsenal, and that he's very happy, which kind of ties into if you watch any of the videos of Jorginho in and around the squad, if you watch any of the videos with him doing the Arsenal talk, he doesn't seem like the kind of player that's upset. He seems like he's very happy. He seems excited about the coming season. Like, I don't know whether the news that he wants to leave came from it. For me, it was very out of the blue. And I don't know whether it's just the case that people have seen that Thomas Partey's still here, Declan Rice has come in, and it's sort of put 2 and 2 together and come up with 6. So, yeah, that news is apparently untrue. Matt Turner's passed his medical for his £10 million move to Nottingham Forest, so he will be on his way, which has opened up the pathway, as we were speaking earlier, for the 25 million to 30 million pounds David Raya from Brentford. A deal which looks like it's pretty much done. We'll go over that in... Steve, you got anything quickly on that?
No, it's done, mate. It's done. It was done a few days ago. So they was just waiting for the Matt Turner one to go through. And it's done. David Raya, as long as the medical goes through okay, then David Raya is an Arsenal player, and I'm excited to see what it's going to bring. It's going to be interesting there to see what's going to happen, and a lot of different opinions, whether he's going to be a number one, whether he's coming in as a number two, all sorts of different people saying. Personally, I think he's came in to challenge for the number one, and to learn Ramsdale different aspects of his game, because he's young, that he needs to improve on. And that's why he's been brought in. It's a lot of money. He's actually played more money for Raya than they actually did for Ramsdale. So but I'm over the moon. I'm excited to see Raya come in. So
because it's a benefit for Arsenal. So we'll speak a bit about that more next week once the deal is hopefully over the line. But quickly, we'll go through the first fixtures of the season, starting Saturday with Nottingham Forest, followed by Crystal Palace the following Monday, Fulham the following week, with Manchester United coming up on the 3rd of September, Everton on the 16th of September, and the 24th of September, it's the London Derby at the Emirates Stadium. First 6 fixtures, Steve, what are they looking like for you quickly?
I think it's a good start. A lot of games that we should win. Good. Forest is a good start. Palace is a good start. Was it Fulham as well? Was it as well? We got in there somewhere. Manchester United, easy, no problem whatsoever. I think we should win. Really, if we play the way we can, we should win all those games. I know football don't work like that, but for me, we should get the 18 points. No problem. As long as we play well. It'd be interesting to see, what Man United and Tottenham. Obviously, there'll be difficult games and that. I'm not impressed by Manchester United, what they've bought. I'm not that impressed. They're decent players, but to me, they're not wonderful players. They've got this habit of buying players that you don't like, don't they? Manchester United, like people that annoy you, that drive you don't like. Anana, Anthony, Casemiro, just all round bad characters. Man, do you know what I mean? They're just players. I don't know what it is about Man United. They tend to buy the wrong characters for me. Martinez, but I think, as I say, I'm not as impressed. And I heard someone today that they think they might could win Challenge City for the title. Jesus Christ!
Man United.
Yeah. I mean, they might challenge my grandson at Minecraft or something, but that's about all they'll be challenging for next season, I think. But and Tottenham, they're a little bit all over the place at the moment. For me, I'd say I'm going for 18 points, mate. I'm going for 18 points. We should win all them.
All right. Jerome, what's your thoughts on the first 6 fixtures of the Premier League for Arsenal?
Well, Everton away is probably the hardest out of all of those. Don't tend to do too well there. The trouble is, you're going for the league against Man City. You got to be looking for at least 5 wins out of those, haven't you? I think so. I think I'd probably take 5 wins, because before Sunday I thought it's going to take this team a bit of a while to gel together. But seeing how we played on Sunday, I'm a little bit more optimistic that we can have a good, quick start, a fast start. So at least 5 wins for me out of those.
Well, if if the pundits and everyone else was anything to go by about City's team, they're behind Arsenal. Like that was an excuse that was used multiple times the other day as to why Arsenal potentially looked a bit better than Man City. Is because Manchester City are a bit behind in their preparations. They're playing the first game of the season on Friday. Like, how are they behind in their preparations? What I don't know what these pundits were getting at. While they were saying, yeah, Manchester City a little bit behind Arsenal in their preparation. So it was obvious that Arsenal would dominate a little bit more, but they got the luck in the end. What?
Yeah. No, that's right, mate. Of course, because like in a week they're going to be full steam ahead.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. We won't go through it now. We ain't got the time, but I genuinely think we're favourites to win the league.
All right, there we go. Heard it from Steve first last week. He's reiterated, he's doubled down in now. Melvin, first 6 fixtures of the season. What's your thoughts on them? How many points do we get?
14/15, I think.
All right, where do you see us dropping points?
I think it's the obvious ones: Everton away and one of United or Tottenham at home.
All right. Well,
I think they'd be up for the Everton one. Arsenal tend to go to grounds where they've slipped up the year before.
Well, I like to think so, Steve. I like to think we do it for a while. Is it hopefully? What is it? Is it a Saturday game? Is it?
I ain't got a clue. I'll have to check.
Well, I hope it's not a wet night in the north of England. Hopefully, so if it's an afternoon, it's 5 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah. It'd be 5 o'clock.
5,
yeah, so that'd be Saturday, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at with that game. It's a bit of a bogey one. Weirdly, a bit like Southampton's a bit of a bogey one. I never know why, because it don't matter where those teams are, we seem to drop points again. But this one, Everton, there's no new manager bounce. There's no new signing bounce. They've been god awful in the transfer window. Man United massively overrated in the transfer window. I think they'd be there and thereabouts with pretty much how they did last season, if my opinion. Liverpool,
lucky,
really not fancying what they've done in this transfer window. I don't know what some of their fans are talking about with regards to they've got replacements for Gini Wijnaldum. They've got no replacement for Hendo, no replacement for Milner, no replacement for Fabinho, and they're talking about playing Curtis Davis there or who's that young Serbian kid. Nah. Or buying a 19-year-old Lavea as to sit in your midfield and be a team that's going to fight for the league or top 4. Not happening. Chelsea,
it's Arsenal,
yes.
mate, isn't it? Arsenal,
Chelsea,
the best, aren't they?
Yeah, Chelsea. I can't forget about Chelsea because my worry was that the players' egos and buying into Pochettino. It does seem like they're kind of doing that, but we'll see how they do in the Premier League. But I think they'll be back in the top 4 fight. So yeah, I think the people challenging will be the same as last year, and then potentially maybe Chelsea in there as well. But those first fixtures, I think there's a really good chance that we can come out with that.
Who's your top 4, Kears? Who's your top 4?
That is ready for next week's show, Steve. All right. All right. Thank you for everyone who's joined us so far tonight. Make sure if you are new to the show, make sure you press that subscribe button, press that like button as well, so the algorithm can see that you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining us in the comment section. Absolutely buzzing. It has been for the last few weeks, so please let's keep that up. Thank you for joining us, guys. Steve, Jerome, and Melvin.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
The Marx brothers.
The Marx. We have got to come up with some new, more relevant sort of characters, film stars, TV stars, musicians, because earlier on we lost half the crowd because no one knew who we were talking about. No
Lauren Hardy. They don't know who Lauren Hardy is.
Just. But okay.
Did you say Tom and Jerry? Did anyone say Tom and Jerry?
There he goes. He still. But we can't. Again, we've got to think of better characters to compare our defenders with, not a couple of comedians. That was so. Next time, someone a bit more dangerous, someone a bit more scary.
Yeah, right.
Someone come with Bodger and Badger, which is probably more relevant, but still Still a couple of jokers.
I never heard of that. Who's Bodger and Badger?
Bodger and Badger. Bodger, Badger, mercy, mercy. No one knows about Bodger and Badger. Wow.
Yeah.
On that note,
Who's the one? Something and Doyle. Something and Doyle, wasn't it?
Doyle? Bodie and Doyle.
Bodie and
Doyle.
That's it, yeah.
You're not helping yourself. You're not
No,
helping
you
yourself.
too old.
Too old.
What are we talking about?
Sorry,
Like
too old.
1940s and we peaked to the 1990s.
Well, the
That's
comments
it,
ain't coming up.
go.
They've not come up with no recent ones, have they? You know, it's not like
Bodger and Badger is the most recent one. That says
heard of it.
what
Never
our
heard of
crowd
it.
is. Come on, let's get a younger crowd in from going forward.
and Deck. And Deck.
Oh,
They're not. They're 2'6", the pair of them.
we're
They're not
quick
centre
while
halves,
we're
are they?
ahead. We'll quit while we're ahead. Thank
That can
you
be
everyone who's joined us tonight.
Vieira and Smith Rowe.
Peace out,
and
people.
Deck.
Stay safe and wash your hands.